You got guys that punch hard and get hard, and you got guys that come out and win a few rounds. And I think really was tough.
Okay. A lot of people are saying that Usyk's heavyweight run isn't a lot of fighters at heavyweight, of course, because the only fought was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fighters at heavyweight.
So again, I think Oleksandr Usyk is an exceptional fighter, but you need to mention with someone that can actually match his work rate. Okay, and for me, every time they can match his work rate, he's going to go to the body, he's going to follow a game plan.
Floyd Mayweather believes fans are often too quick to crown new legends without considering the full context, and he openly questions whether Oleksandr Usyk truly deserves the level of praise he's been receiving. Never one to shy away from asserting his own greatness, Mayweather reminds the world that no fighter, past or present, including Usyk, surpasses what he accomplished in the ring. While many fans now consider Usyk an all-time great, Floyd disagrees, arguing that although Usyk is undoubtedly talented, his own legacy stands on a much higher pedestal. Having retired undefeated, made history across multiple weight classes, and dominated elite-level competition for years, Mayweather contends that Usyk is yet to face opponents of the same caliber. In his view, Usyk is overrated and nowhere near him in terms of skill, legacy, or overall greatness.
I'll let you know. There's no fighter that will ever be better than me. There's no fighter that wasn't better than me before me or after me or when I'm long ago.
Critics like Showbiz Adal present a compelling counter to the growing praise surrounding Oleksandr Usyk, questioning whether his dominance in the heavyweight division truly warrants all-time great status. While many celebrate Usyk's accomplishments, Showbiz argues that the quality of his opponents plays a crucial role in assessing his legacy. If the fighters Usyk defeated were not elite or were past their prime, then the significance of those victories is diminished. Aside from Tyson Fury, often cited as a legitimate, top-tier opponent, most of Usyk's adversaries lack the legendary stature needed to elevate him into the same conversation as historical icons like Muhammad Ali or Evander Holyfield.
That Usyk's heavyweight run isn't a lot of fighters at heavyweight, of course, because the only flaw was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fighters at heavyweight. But they saying that it's full of quality, right? I want you to understand, full of quality. Witherspoon is an all-time great heavyweight. His brother Tim Witherspoon, you can argue, but Chance Witherspoon, no. Derek Chisora is not an all-time great heavyweight. He's not. He's a fantastic competitor, but if you look at who he fought, look at who he lost to, Chisora is not an all-time great heavyweight. Dubois is not yet an all-time great heavyweight. Look at who he fought, who he started with, who he lost to. Dubois is not an all-time great heavyweight. So we're left with, when you say quality, we're left with Tyson Fury and Anthony A.J. Joshua. Now, if you guys think that AJ is an all-time great heavyweight, you can't. I can understand that. I definitely can. There's an argument to be made. But Anthony Joshua, when you think about him, and a lot of from other great heavyweights, Anthony Joshua lost to the likes of Ruiz, been knocked out by Ruiz, was knocked out by Dubois. Anthony Joshua, I'm not sure if you would consider him an all-time great heavyweight, but you can make an argument. Tyson Fury definitely. So beating Tyson Fury twice is really Usyk's claim to fame. This is thing.
Another perspective from analysts is that Oleksandr Usyk's brilliance is best appreciated through a lens of pound-for-pound rankings rather than an all-time heavyweight legacy. They argue that Usyk is a master technician, known for his exceptional footwork, defensive skills, and high ring IQ, qualities that make him a modern great. However, these analysts are cautious about placing him among the heavyweight legends of the past. They believe his greatness stems more from his unique style and adaptability than from a resume filled with historically iconic opponents. As a result, while Usyk undoubtedly ranks among the top active boxers in the world today, his place among boxing's all-time immortals remains a topic of debate.
His performance was okay, that's amazing. And many of you say, well, Usyk is a top 10 all-time great heavyweight. I don't agree. Because Usyk has only had like 7 wins. is very stacked within those 7 fights. But really, it's hard to put them past people who've had 30 plus, 40 plus fights and just had a career, a great all-time career at heavyweight. But what I can say is that Oleksandr Usyk is one of the greatest 5 pound for pound ever. And I put him on my Mount Rushmore today. So I don't have him as an all-time great, but I do have him as an all-time great pound for pound fighter. And where do I put him there? Pretty damn high.
Critics also argue that many of Oleksandr Usyk's opponents have fallen short not because he is unbeatable, but because they fail to effectively utilize their own skills. Some fighters, despite facing him more than once, struggle to make meaningful adjustments. Analysts have suggested that boxers like Michael Hunter or Joe Joyce, who demonstrated stronger ring awareness and strategy in past performances, might have posed a more serious threat. A particularly insightful viewpoint is that very few heavyweights train to match Usyk's movement and timing, an area where he excels, which results in a lopsided contest. Instead of entering the ring with a well-crafted game plan, many opponents appeared unprepared, making Usyk's path to victory far less complicated.
Harsh on Daniel Dubois after the fight, and I actually think I'm, being fair in being a bit harsh on him. I think Daniel Dubois is an exceptional fighter. But there is something, where it's a confidence thing. And I think Oleksandr Usyk, give him a lot of credit. His jab looked exceptional on Saturday. And really that first, jab that landed on Daniel Dubois, snapped his head back, and it was a powerful jab. It actually reminded me of Artur Beterbiev jab when he really snapped it. And it was obviously a very powerful shot. So I think Daniel Dubois, he was confused by Usyk, and I think he just looked so discouraged to me. Again, take nothing away from Oleksandr Usyk. I thought it was an exceptional performance. And to be honest, he really didn't even get out of second gear. And he didn't even need to. Now, obviously, there's a lot of talk about what he's going to do next. In my opinion, really, there's only one fight that I would actually want to see. For me, that's Andre Caballel. I think Andre Caballel is someone that, number one, knows how to go to the body. I think if Oleksandr Usyk does have a weakness, it is the body. I think Andre Caballel can follow a disciplined game plan. I think he's had a good string of wins, and I think his stamina is very good as well. I think Oleksandr Usyk is, winning a lot of these fights based on his speed, his stamina, and his footwork. These big heavyweights like Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, they cannot live with the pace that Usyk is setting. Daniel Dubois was knackered after 3 rounds in that fight. Okay, so they can't live with the pace. So again, I think Oleksandr Usyk is an exceptional fighter, but you need to match him with someone that can actually match his work rate. Okay, and for me, Andre Caballel can match his work rate. He's going to go to the body. He's going to follow a game plan.
Showbiz emphasizes that placing Oleksandr Usyk alongside legendary names like Muhammad Ali and Evander Holyfield is premature, arguing that Usyk has yet to build the kind of resume required to earn a seat at that elite table. He points out that the greatest fighters in history are defined not just by their talent, but by the level of competition they conquered. According to Showbiz, even Usyk's top 5 opponents wouldn't rank among the top 5 faced by Ali or Holyfield, highlighting a significant gap between being dominant in your own era and being considered one of the greatest across all eras.
I cannot put that over the likes of Evander, the real deal Holyfield, fighting and beating the likes of Riddick Bowe, beating the likes of George Foreman. And when he beat George Foreman was a killer. Beating George Foreman, beating the likes of Iron Mike Tyson. He was a huge underdog there. Beating the likes of Larry Holmes, beating Michael Moore, Evander beating Michael Doak, if you guys know who that is and how good of a fighter he was. Evander the real deal Holyfield has a different range. I cannot put Usyk with his 5 heavyweight opponents over heavyweights, great heavyweights, who made careers at heavyweight. We all know what Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali beat the who's who of heavyweight greats. He fought them all, and he beat them, okay? But then you have guys like Larry Holmes who have beaten the Ernie Shavers, who have beaten the Ken Nortons. You have the likes of Jack Johnson, which when you look at his box record, you see his record, and you don't know what he had to overcome to be so great.
When Daniel Dubois stepped into the ring with Oleksandr Usyk, many anticipated a hard-fought battle, but post-fight analysis revealed several flaws in Dubois' preparation and execution. Observers pointed to his poor footwork, lack of head movement, and inability to maintain consistent pressure, critical shortcomings that raise an important question. Was Usyk truly dominant, or was Dubois simply underwhelming? While Usyk secured a clear victory, some argued the bout highlighted Dubois' weak performance more than it showcased Usyk's peak ability. As a result, the fight reignited ongoing debates about the overall level of competition Usyk is facing in the heavyweight division.
You were willing on being a London boy and stuff like that. I thought he won the first round. I thought Usyk won the second round. But I thought there was arguments for certainly giving Dubois the third round. But you could see, even if he was in the fight, things were starting to change after the second round. Usyk just had that extra little bit of class about him.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have to bet anyone. I just thought Usyk was so dominant in that jab. I'm not a boxing fan. Heavyweight casual. I just love to see big heavyweight box each other and knockouts. But I just feel like Usyk was not even out of second gear. Like, he didn't need to be. You just had him on that jab. He just kept plowing away. And whenever Dubois tried to land like a big shot, like one of those big punches we talk about.
Renowned trainer Teddy Atlas offered a harsh critique of Daniel Dubois' approach against Oleksandr Usyk, emphasizing that despite having already experienced Usyk's power and movement, Dubois failed to make any meaningful adjustments. Atlas's biggest criticism centered on Dubois' lack of bodywork and the absence of coherent game plan. He argued that Dubois treated the bout like a routine match rather than the strategic war it needed to be, leaving him vulnerable to Usyk's rhythm, angles, and superior ring intelligence. This, according to Atlas, made the knockout feel inevitable and further supports the growing narrative that many of Usyk's opponents are simply unprepared for his cerebral, high-level style of boxing.